pretty amazing day for me and for Mary Pat. You know, when you get elected governor of New Jersey, you have two choices to make, fundamentally on the first day. And that is whether you serve your party first or whether you serve the people first. And, you know, it sounds trite, but you get challenged on that every day in lots of different ways. And I always felt, and I told Joe this that first day after I was elected, I always felt like the luckiest guy in the world that I won that election. As a Republican in New Jersey, winning a statewide election is no easy feat. And I told my staff, and still do today, that I want them coming into the State House every day feeling like we're playing with house money. We don't belong here. And the fact is, we shouldn't do things the way conventional politicians have done them, of both parties, over the course of the last number of decades in the state. We need to be different. We need to act differently, think differently, and treat the citizens differently. And so I have reached out from the first day to try to have friends on both sides of the aisle. And to do more than just talk as the governor, but to listen. To listen to all the local mayors as we're making big changes at the statewide level to find out how can we be helpful and what are their concerns and what are the concerns of their citizens. To talk to community activists, pastors and members of the clergy who interact with their congregants in a much different way than politicians often do. To hear from them, what are the real concerns of these families when they come to you before services, after services, during the week. Things they might not get a chance to tell a politician, but they would tell their pastor. And then to work with county officials who understand that each individual county in New Jersey faces a different challenge, and help me to understand what their challenges are and how I can help them face them. That's a decision we made 4 years ago. And I think today, standing behind me, you see the results of that decision. It's not that any of these people behind me are changing party registration, nor have I asked them to. It's because we've worked together and proven to each other that putting people ahead of party is the right way to go, the necessary way to go. I want to start with the county executive. As he said, the easiest thing in the world for him to do politically would have just been to say he was neutral in this race and just leave it alone. Joe and I have been friends for 11 years. We worked long and hard together on all kinds of issues in those last 11 years. But with that friendship and that work and those accomplishments didn't come an expectation from me that I would have his political support. And that's why it's so extraordinarily gratifying to have someone who is one of the most important, vibrant, and successful leaders in the state, a Democrat, stand here today and say the things that Joe just said about me and our partnership and what we've accomplished together. Joe, I thank you very much for your leadership and your support. And everybody here should see Joe as I do, as an example of when people really care about being successful in government more than they care about being successful personally, that this is the result. So Joe, thank you very, very much. Armando and I have a long relationship. Same length of time that Joe and I have, but in a totally different way. We dealt with issues of crime for the first 7 years of our friendship exclusively. And I used to say all the time that when you wanted a problem solved, and not just hot air, you'd go to Armando. He knows how to get things done. And as U.S. Attorney, I needed somebody who could be that kind of partner, and also to vouch for me with the other law enforcement folks around the state, because while some people may not remember, I was not the universal, unanimous choice to be United States Attorney back in 2002. A lot of people wondering what kind of U.S. Attorney I would be. It seems like a long time ago to some people, but not to me and Armando. And when I proved to him that I was willing to call it as I saw it and play it straight and be supportive of trying to reduce crime, especially in our urban areas, he not only supported me in that effort, but he also vouched for me all across the state. The sheriffs, police chiefs, and others who know that his word is good. And so to have him stand here with me today in support of my re-election for governor is particularly gratifying, because what it means is, on the merits, he's decided that this type of leadership is the type of leadership that can be most effective for the people of our state. To all the mayors who are here, I want to thank you for your standing up and being counted today. It's incredibly gratifying to me. Mayors of long standing and new mayors who understand that this partnership that we've developed is one that helps the citizens of their individual communities. And to the veterans, your service, and all the example that you set every day for the people of this state is something that deserves praise and honor and support. And as long as I'm governor, you'll always have all three. I think, to me, the most gratifying and extraordinary part of the day today is the support I've received today from the pastors who are here. Talk about folks who would be a lot easier for them to play it safe. But what they understand about me and what we've learned about each other over time is that I'm going to stand up for the things I believe in, whether they get any votes or they don't. And I'm going to fight for education reform in our cities and continue to fight for that reform no matter what forces are arrayed against us. And I will call out individually those people who are standing in the way of children and our families in their churches, who every day are shortchanged by a public education system that is devoid of hope in many of these communities. And I simply am not going to stand for it. And no matter what type of pressure gets put on me, publicly and privately, I stand with them. And the reason we stand together is because we care about those children more than we care about political donations, political support, or the way business used to be done. My staff always tells me that they like it best when I talk about education reform, because they said the real you comes out. I don't know exactly what that means. But what I think it means is what I've said all along, and why I think these pastors, among other reasons, stand with me today. Because I know in my heart that if I had been left in the school system in the city of Newark, I would not be governor today. And there is not a day that I've been governor that I have not thought about how many children there must be in the cities all across our state who have all the God-given ability to someday be governor themselves, but won't be, because we don't have the guts to stand up to the entrenched interests in the state and tell them that those children's lives and their futures and their hopes and their dreams are more important than continuing to feed the education establishment in this state when they don't prove results for those families. And I stand for the Opportunity Scholarship Act, and always will, and will fight every day that I'm governor to get it finally done, because they can't wait any longer for us to fix this. Easy for everybody else to stand out there and say, just wait, we'll get it fixed. Every day we don't, those children fall further and further behind. Every day we don't give them another opportunity, their parents watch the dreams they have for their children become less and less realistic. And because many of those families are working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs to keep food on the table, they don't have the resources to choose for themselves to send their children to a better school for them. So we say to them,
suffer in silence and wait. Wait. And we throw billions of dollars at the problem to assuage our guilt over our failure for these families. So for me, the most gratifying part of today is to have these pastors do exactly what Reverend Carter said. Stand up, say, you know, we have choices. We have choices. We're going to exercise those choices. And that won't happen overnight with everyone in their congregation. In the same way, it hadn't happened overnight with the leadership of these churches. But today we begin. Today we begin that journey. I don't know how many more votes it'll mean for me in November, but that's not the point. The point is to empower people by giving them choice. Choice for their children in their schools, and choice at the ballot box for who they believe ultimately will really stand up for them and not just pretend to stand up for them. This is, Joe's right, this is a historic day. I can tell you I've watched politics in this state for most of my life. And I never thought I'd see a day like this. And to be a part of it is even more gratifying. We have work to do, lots of work. And the work is not accomplished today. What today does is give us more tools to accomplish it. Because with us all together, there's more of us than there are of them. We need to start to realize that. People who care about reforming education, people who care about helping fix our cities, people who believe that there is no life disposable. Everyone deserves a second chance. All those things are things that more of us agree on than disagree. It's time for us to stand up together and fight against those interests who believe that their personal enrichment is more important than broadening opportunities for everybody in our society. So, today is an incredibly gratifying day for me. And I want to thank each and every one of these people for standing up here and showing the courage to put their convictions ahead of their politics. And the promise I make them in return is that I will do the same thing every day that I'm fortunate enough to have the privilege of being governor of the state where I was born and raised. So, thank you to each and every one of them. Thanks to Joe, their leader, for being willing to stand up and be counted. And thank you to the people of Essex County for giving me my start. And today, helping me move further along that road to help to lead our state to bigger and better things for all of our citizens, not just a select few. So I appreciate all of you who are here today in support. Maybe some of you just showed up out of curiosity. Is it really going to happen? Well, you were here and you saw it, and it did, and it's going to continue to happen for every day that I'm fortunate enough to be the leader of this state. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you all very much.